Iceland is an isolated country, but it's a happy one. It regularly ranks among the world's happiest countries, and it was named the third happiest country in this year's World Happiness Report released by the United Nations. Joining me now is a man who calls himself the Chief Happiness Officer of Iceland. He says this is a choice, and this is how he wants to serve his country. He owns a company called True Happiness, and he's also the host of the Tribute to Happiness podcast. His name is Hedinn, and he's now joining me from Iceland. Hedinn, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you also.
Let's start with your background first. You call yourself the Chief Happiness Officer of Iceland, and on your website, you said one doesn't get appointed directly as the Chief Happiness Officer of his nation, but it's a choice. So tell me about it. Like, why did you choose to become the Chief Happiness Officer of your country and the nation?
Well, yes, it is just like when I started this journey, I have a degree in, as I mentioned, I lived in Denmark and studied in Denmark, so I can work with people from birth to death. Like, and I could call myself a kindergarten teacher or a social educator, or like I just work with people, and then I took my MBA degree at the University of Iceland in 2014, and I had been working as a CFO, like in the finance,
Chief Financial Officer.
In a leisure center. Like, we had the after school care programs, and we had youth clubs and stuff. And then in December 2019, I went to Denmark to participate in this Chief Happiness Officer Academy. And boy, oh boy, it was 4 days where we were 18 people together. And it was just like, oh my, there are people who work with this. Like, this is fantastic. And in those 4 days, we bonded. So we are still together. Now, 3 years later, we are still talking together. And when I came home, I was like rambling on with my wife. I was just like, yeah, and we did this, we did that, and we were going to do this, and she was just like, whoa, pause. Are you in a cult? Are you like, what is happening? But no cult. I have to make my own business. I just have to find, like, this was just it. It was it. I just found, it was like I walked into something that was just, where have you been all my life? And then it happened to be like the indicator of, I started to think, like, how can I do this? How can I implement this in my work? But the life maybe took me there, but I resigned. I handed in my resignation letter on February 14th, 2020.
Valentine's Day.
Yes. And little did I know that a month later, COVID hit and everything went bonkers. But I stuck to it. I decided that, like, I wanted to pursue that. I was quitting because I just was fed up with everything at my workplace and stuff. So the 1st of June, 2020, I quit. And but the moment I handed in my resignation letter, it was like this fog lifted, and I was just like, oh, I can, yes, if I open this window, yes, I can make a podcast. If I go here through this door, I can do this. And like, I think I had been so stressed for a long period that I couldn't see where I was going and how I was feeling and stuff, because I can tell you, the month of June 2020, I slept like a baby from 11 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Okay.
I was so tired. So, and then of course reality hit, because you have to get money. So I was talking to my friend in July 2020, and he has a restaurant, and we were just talking about stuff, and he said, like, he was looking for staff members, and I was just like, oh, I'm available. When do I start? And I started on the July 10th, 2020 at his restaurant, and he has regretted it ever since. But I'm having the time of my life. I meet people, I talk to people. I like you can. Why are you like if you would be here, you would come to the restaurant and say, "What is a Bangladeshian doing in Iceland? Why are you here? What is it?" And you get this info, and then they get the good food, and they have smiles on their faces. That is a payment for me. Like that is when people are happy and they take the time out to enjoy, and you can literally see it in their eyes, and they're smiling. They're just like they have had a good experience, because when we are always running, we are always rushing. When do we like calm down and just like and soak it in? Look out the window. Like if you I don't know how you like I don't know your situation in Bangladesh, but the best thing for me is when I wake up, if I have this, on the blinders, if the sun can get in and falls on my face, and I'm just like, oh, the sun is shining. Oh, and that is a big thing here in Iceland, let me tell you, because we are so far north. Or if you hear the birds sing, like it's just like, oh, it's going to be a good day. It's acknowledging also the little things that you are so stressed, or you are so in a rush that you don't notice, because you have to live. Of course, we have to live. That's why I got the job at the restaurant. But I can sense that I need to move forward now. So, but it was a blessing in disguise that COVID came. Of course, COVID, the pandemic was horrible, but in a sense, it made me pause and think about life. So it was, and what makes you happy and stuff. So that is my story today.
Iceland, as I said in the introduction, so it is regularly ranked among the world's happiest countries. So tell me, what's your secret? Why do you guys are named among the world's happiest countries?
Yeah, they say I read I think it was the 2019 report where they were talking about this, and the Nordic countries, we are all similar. Of course, we have this kindred spirits, because the Vikings, they came from somewhere. They came from Norway to Iceland, and those like etc. And the five Nordic countries have always been amongst the top 10. They have never been lower than 10. So we have always been ranked like number 1, 2, 3, or whatever. One thing for us is that we live in such an environment that we never know what nature does tomorrow. And I think that we have we take today, we live always like this day today is the last day of our life. And sometimes I think the French word is laissez-faire. Like you just live. It is like you live for today. And I think that when I moved to Denmark, I couldn't understand how people could know what they were doing on this day in a year. But and the Danes, they put everything in the calendar. We here, we don't want to do that, because we never know where we are. We could be dead. We could be in abroad or something. So we are very loose when it comes to this. We are not like, we try to see positive things. Of course, like everywhere else, internet is a cesspool of negative comments and stuff. But that is, you can choose to look past that. But I think that we have this system. Our system is, in the Nordic countries, is that we take care of each other. Not as much as I would want to, but we have the system that if you get sick, you don't have to worry about money, because the state take care of you. So we are all like, we have this safety net under us. And a part of the family is also very important to us. And job security. We have job security, and there's loads of stuff that I think the Nordic countries have built up, and as of such, we don't have this hierarchy of people who are wealthier than others. I can go to a person who have a lot of money and just say, "Hi, how are you?" Like, there's no problem with that here. We just address, like, we talk to people like they are just
Your
regular
friends
people.
or something. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that is also the things that we, and of course we have the swimming pools, we have the hot tubs, we have the hot water, like we have loads of stuff to just make us relax and enjoy. But I think we try to see, because we live in this country where hardness and hardship can be, as you guys probably remember in 2010 when our lovely Eyjafjallajökull, that's another word for you to say, Eyjafjallajökull, the volcano which closed everything. And of course we were saddened about it, but this is our reality. The volcano, which has been going on like the last 2 years, it's just 40 minutes where I live from. So, and I think we see the beauty in it. We are crazy. Like, people are at the same moment as the volcano started 2 years ago. People just started walking to it and wanted to like feel the heat, and like it's just like, say what? I like I'm not there. I like to see it, just watch it on telly. So that's enough excitement for me. Thank you. So it is just, I think we have this system of where we don't have to worry about the future, in that sense that we don't have the money, or like we will be taken care of. Of course, we can talk about, is it enough? Because you have been working all your life and you don't want to end up in some institution where you just sit and nothing happens. So, but I think that is the main reason that we have this. Yeah, we take care of, like, we think about each other, and we take care of each other in the sense that the state does it. It is not me. Like, I'm not going around and say, oh, I have a right to do this. So we always have to take care of and think about the other people around us.
When I read articles written by experts or like academics on the main reasons of happiness in the Nordic countries, I think they mostly highlight these points. The strong social safety net for all citizens.
Yes.
That's universal. I think it is one of the main reasons why people in these countries do not have as much stress as the people in other countries. Because, in countries like Bangladesh and India, I'm always worried about my job security. I'm worried about, because I don't have a pension. In Bangladesh, if you're working for the government, you have a pension. But if you're working in the private sector, you don't have a pension. So it means you have to save and invest. You have to take care of yourself financially for 25 or 30 years, or the duration of your whole working life, to secure a pension. It's very stressful, and it's always full of uncertainty. So in your country, it doesn't matter if you're working, if you're let's say you are the CEO of a company, or you just have a small job. Let's say you work for a restaurant, as you were talking about your friend's restaurant, right? So even if you're working in a restaurant, I think you also are covered by the social security net from the government.
Yeah, and the health insurance.
Health insurance,
so yeah. So we have loads of stuff, like, but it is something that, because when we look at like the system in the US and in England, we just can't. We don't understand it. Why? Why is this dual system that people who don't like? Okay, I think they take care of the poor people, but it is still that if you have money, then you get in front of the line or whatever. But I think, and the minimum wage, and like we have here, I think in business here in Iceland, the job, the payment, the payroll is like 60% of a company.